What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. I'm on location today because I wasn't unable to record last night, but let's talk about that amazing win against the Daicos. Let's get into it. So before we do get into it, like I said, I'm filming on location. I brought everything that I needed to for my sound. I only brought one of my wireless receivers, so bear with me for the sound because I want to get this up by 5 o'clock today so you guys can watch it on your way home from school or work or wherever you may watch this. So bear with me for the audio, but let's get into that amazing win against the Daicos and what it means. On Saturday Arvo, on a crappy sort of Saturday Arvo, rain and stuff, we played the Daicos at the MCG and we needed 64,500 to break the 1 million fan mark. We ended up getting 61,500, and I think the Murdo-Hurstbridge line going from trains to bus replacements kind of impacted that a little bit, but we were able to beat the biggest home and away crowd against Fremantle since 2008, which was like 48,000. We surpassed that at 61,000, so we still broke a record. We will hit the million fans through our doors this week against Port Adelaide. But that game was scintillating in that second quarter. We put 10 goals on in the second quarter to 2 goals. We kicked 8 unanswered before Fremantle got one through. In the first quarter, we kicked the first 3 goals, and then Freo sort of came back. They started winning clearances. They started winning inside 50s. And I thought it was going to be... Look, I go into every single game nervous, as you are all familiar with. I go into every single game nervous. I thought this was going to be a repeat of West Coast to last year, and I think round 4 or round 5, where they were just decimated and they kind of come through and prove that they can, they can win a game, especially against Collingwood. Fremantle had their backs against the walls. This was their game to win for finals contention. They're pretty much out of finals now. I think they're 7 and 10. But the Pies, look, like I said, we started off really slow in what is historically, historically for this season, our best quarter is usually the first quarter. In these last 2 weeks, we've had slow starts, but the week before last, an amazing third quarter. Last week, or the other day against Freo, an incredible second quarter. So we talked about the McRae sandwich for so long. We talked about the first quarter being really good, the last quarter being really good. And now we're getting second and third quarters being really good. And the first and fourth quarter were just sort of biting energy or something like that. So that was amazing to see that. Again, we're adding more strings to our bow, as the saying goes, which is incredible. So that McRae sandwich is turning into a McRae Whopper because every part of it is absolutely juicy. The only time that's going to be even better is when we can have every single quarter playing well all at the same time. Every single person in this team, or every single player in this team is just doing their job phenomenally. Like, I've written a couple of notes here that I sort of want to go up, and I'm gonna miss players because everybody just played incredible. The first guy I wanted to note is Darcy Moore. 11 intercepts, possessions, 5 intercept marks in the first quarter alone. He was going for a world record, but Fremantle didn't get the ball up into their forward line much, so he couldn't really mark those balls there. But not only did Moore have 5 intercept marks in that first quarter, Nathan Murphy was intercepted marking him a lot. Isaac Quaynor was intercept marking in and studying him off halfback, who should get an All-Australian jersey. Moore and Isaac should be getting All-Australian jerseys, even if they just make the top 40, because they are absolutely just incredible. And Isaac Quaynor has just come into his own this season. We knew he was going to have a big season because of the way he just sort of bulked up in the preseason. But I think with Markov in there, who also had another great game, I think with Markov in there, it's allowing Q to kind of roam a little bit more. Markov is playing that sort of, that free-flowing, get the ball and run down the ground like Isaac would. But now Isaac can sort of hold back a little bit, become that intercept marker, and his overhead marking has just gone, just to another level this season. Taylor Adams, 2 goals, 7 clearances. He's playing that high half forward role. I posted about him on my Instagram this morning. He's playing this new role because Mitchell has come into the team. Nick Daicos is in the middle, and obviously Jordan De Goey. He's playing this high half forward role, and I think he's going to keep Will Hoskin-Elliott out of the team. And I don't mean because, Will Hoskin-Elliott that if Will Hoskinelli was going to come in, Taylor Adams would go out. But I think that, Will Hoskinelli does typically play that high half forward role, and he would probably be in for Markov. I can't see Markov coming out of the team. Can't see Will Hoskinelli coming into the team. Taylor Adams is playing that hybrid role really, really well. And yes, he's field kicking a little bit. Sometimes he can be a little bit quicker with his decision making. I would love to see, instead of just waiting to where he wants to put the ball, just be a little bit quicker. But that'll come. But 2 goals, 7 clearances in that hybrid role, absolutely amazing. Jamie Elliott, he kicked, he kicked another bag of goals. Just like he's kicked 15 goals in the last 4 games since the bye, and since he came off with that was it a shoulder injury? It was some sort of injury. But since the bye, he kicked 15 goals in 4 games. The premier small forward in the competition right now. We are just so privileged to have him in our team and just be leading this resurgence of Collingwood. Ash Johnson, 6 goals in 2 games. He kicked 3 on the weekend. Again, this guy, we said, sent him to VFL because he's form, blah, blah, blah. He went to VFL, played 1 game, didn't do super well, but then Checkers goes down, McStay still went down, and we needed a big key forward. And we said, Ash Johnson, here you go. Make this your own. See what you can do. 6 goals in 2 games is an incredible return. What does that mean when Checkers comes back probably this week against Port Adelaide? I don't really know. I don't have the answers right now. But Ash Johnson hasn't put a foot wrong. I'd hate to see him out of the side because he's so versatile at what he brings to this club. I just love the way he goes about it. I love everything about him. His work ethic, his work rate, his marking, his kicking. Just everything. I'm a big AJ40 fan. Of course, how can you do a review of the game without mentioning the Daicos brothers? Nick was just everywhere, 38 disposals or 30, or some high 30 disposals. Josh Daicos, the same. I think it was low to mid 30s. Nick Daicos kicked a goal. We are seeing, or we are witnessing greatness. I tweeted the other day, we have been so privileged in the modern era. I can't really talk about anything in the 90s because I was so young. I didn't really watch football back then and stuff like that. But for me personally, to go from Nathan Buckley to then Pendlebury to now Nick Daicos, we are so privileged as Collingwood supporters. And I guess the whole football world to see these 3 genuine talents, right, go about it. And Nick Daicos, look, he's pretty much got the Brownlow wrapped up, in my opinion, and everybody else's opinion, I guess. But he just adds another element to our game. And we're getting a midfield Nick as well. What I love, and Craig McRae came out and said this, I think, in the Gold Coast game, was we always wanted Nick to be to go into the midfield, but we would lose him off half back and that run and that carry and that decision making. Markov has now gone down back, and yes, he's not Nick Daicos, but Markov is Oleg Markov, right? He is the Belarusian assassin, pretty much. He is our man. He is our mustached man. Now he is providing that run. He is providing that give and go that Nick Daicos was. He's getting those 1-2s, and now Nick Daicos is into the middle. Now Jordan De Goey is in the middle, and now Tom Mitchell is in the middle, and now Adams is a high half forward, and it's just an absolute, again, privilege to watch these guys go about it. Another guy that I want to really mention is Tom Mitchell. Now, he started as the sub. I had a bit of an explanation in my team talk. Scott Pendlebury comes off after a goal and I think 14 touches. Tom Mitchell comes on for him, I think, in the 3rd quarter. Yeah, pretty sure in the 3rd quarter. Tom Mitchell plays 44% of game time. He gets over a dozen disposals, but 6 clearances and 7 tackles in 44% of game time. It's a luxury to have, this tactical sub, but 2, to have a player of Tom Mitchell's ilk come on and be that tactical sub and still impact the game. But in regards to, that was just me randomly going about all these players, but in regards to the game in general, I just love the way we went about it. Look, you can't really complain much about a 10-goal second quarter. The 3rd and 4th quarter, we only kicked a handful of goals. I think we go into a self-preservation mode, and yeah, you want to see, put teams to the sword. I've been saying that for 5 years, but 10 goals to 2 in the second quarter, that is putting the team to the sword. Fremantle were never going to come back and win that game. So we did enough. We did what we needed to do, just conserving ourselves. In that last quarter, Nick Daicos rested forward. I think for most of the quarter, or at least 80% of the quarter, he was rested forward instead of resting him on the bench. Darcy Moore goes onto the bench. Obviously, we get Scott Pendlebury to come off as a sub, so we rest him as well, get him to 400 or 500 games that way. So it's a luxury to be able to manage these players after putting on a great performance. And, that doesn't happen if we're 3 goals down in the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. That doesn't happen, right? But we were able to put all those goals into that second quarter, and then we can start playing with the magnets and resting these players. Now, we are outright first on the ladder. 2 losses, 15 wins, 2 losses. Outright first because Carlton beat Port Adelaide. We play Port Adelaide in Adelaide this week, this Saturday night. We haven't beaten them at Adelaide Oval. Is that the ground? Yeah, Adelaide Oval. So that's going to be interesting. I'll talk about this in the preview of that game, but it could be a grand final preview. It could definitely be one of the finals previews going into this final series. So that's going to be very interesting, especially with Checkers to come back. McStay did really well to get 2 goals, did exactly what I wanted him to. Checkers come back, maybe Darcy Cameron to come back as well. We'll know a bit more about that later on in the week. And then we have Carlton. So this is going to be a really big fortnight for Collingwood, big fortnight for the fans as well. But we haven't put a foot wrong last week against Fremantle. We did everything right, and we've really set ourselves up. We're obviously 1 game clear of second. We're 3 games clear of third place, I think, with Brisbane losing. So pretty much we've got a top 2 spot at least. We definitely have a top 4 spot locked in. We pretty much have a top 2 spot locked in, and that's exactly where you want to be. You want 2 home finals leading into the grand final, I guess. But yeah, this was a great game. It was an A effort, I reckon. An A effort. This team just... Someone asked me on Twitter, is this the most excited you've been for Collingwood compared, even compared to last year? What was more exciting last year or this year? Last year was exciting because it was chaotic football. Like, we didn't know what to expect week in, week out. The game plan just kept changing, and we were winning by 1 point and 7 points and this and this and this and this. This time, it's more concise all throughout the season. We know what to expect every single game, and we're getting the same Collingwood every single game. Yes, we're getting them in the second quarter, or the third quarter, or the first and the fourth quarter, but we're still getting pretty much the same Collingwood. We know the game plan. We know what's going to happen. It's hard. Last year was very exciting, obviously. This year is probably more exciting because we know what Collingwood we're going to get, and we know the effort, and we know everything that's going to happen. I asked you on Threads, and if you're not following me on Threads, follow me down below in the link. I asked you, go and record my video. I want Threads' opinions on the game. We'll be posting and reading some of them on the video. So this is from Andreas19. He says, it needs to click. The whole year, we haven't had our best 22 available. We are working towards this at the right time. Checkers and McStay will be unstoppable and will free up another big man, either Cox or Cameron, when they are rotating the ruck. And then Elliott will be able to continue what he's doing. It's ours to lose from here. We will start to peak next week. Also, is Nick Daicos AI? Yeah, Nick Daicos isn't real. I like what Andre said there. Checkers and McStay as the 1-2 options, definitely. Either Cox or Cameron. It's going to be interesting. Do we keep Billy Frampton in the team when Cameron and Checkers comes back? Do we keep Cox in the team? Team selection this week is going to be very interesting because I think the only people on our injury list will be Will Hoskin-Elliott and Charlie Dean. So, very interesting there. And then Liam Cook 35 says, the never say die attitude we have now compared to before McRae came to our club is something that I've never seen out of any other club. It is incredible. And that pretty much just sums it up. What McRae has done to not only the playing style and the team, just this club and to give the supporters this much belief. I haven't seen that before. Maybe you can compare it to maybe a Luke Beveridge in 2016, but I have not seen this, especially from a Collingwood team, in my whole entire life. And I'm 31 next week, so I've not seen it for 31 years, or well, 30 years, I guess, if you count last year. But yeah, good look, guys. This has just been my preview. This has just been my review on the Fremantle game. Crazy game. 10 goals in the second quarter. I can't talk more highly enough about this team and the individual players. But let me know your thoughts down below. Were you more excited last year or this year? What was the most exciting season, last year or this year? Let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and also next time, double shakers. I'll soup you later.